Randonautica has quickly become one of the more popular trends of 2020. Think Pokemon Go minus the steroids. If you know absolutely nothing about the Randonautica app, it simply generates coordinates for you to find after setting your own intention, whatever that may be. The idea is that by telling the app what your intention is, you'll find something of the same relevance. As you can imagine, it's worked for some people and hasn't appeared to for others, but maybe they weren't looking hard enough. After all, a group of kids on TikTok did end up finding 2 bodies stuffed in suitcases, which were part of an ongoing investigation. Others have found money or simply just odd trinkets of sorts. Today on Life's Biggest Questions, we're counting down the top 10 scary Randonautica theories. What's happening, guys? Jared Bronstein with you here today on LBQ. And before we get into it, let us know in the comments below if you've tried the Randonautica app. I've yet to do so, but would love to try it out on the weekend, so let me know if you have any experiences with it. Make sure to stick around as well for some comment replies, but for now, let's get right into it. Starting us off at number 10, luring people in. More specifically, those under the age of 18, if you get what I'm saying, for God knows what reason. Much like TikTok, this app, although it is popular among all, appears to be geared more so towards kids, seeking to have a little adventure of their own. Although the app claims most users are between 18 and 35, even if there is some sort of terms and conditions claiming the user is 18, we all know how easy those are to get by. I've been doing it since like 14? The reality is, this could unfortunately be a way to lure a certain age of people to an area where they could potentially be abducted and trafficked. Given that the app randomly sends you places, or so it says, how do they not determine who to send in more remote locations? Yes, it asks for your intention, but that could also just be a cover for you not to be expecting something to happen to you. On to number 9, government brainwashing. Much like MK Ultra, this may be an undercover experiment of sorts for the authorities to determine how much power they really have over the average user of this app. I mean, really think about it. If an app tells you to go to a location and do specific things and you do them simply because there is hope you may find something scary or positive or whatever your intention was set, it's quite possible those in charge see this as an opportunity. I'm not sure what exactly that opportunity is, as I don't work for the government, but maybe they see it as a form of brainwashing, telling someone to do something and they do it just because. It's not like you can necessarily win, nor is this app a game of any kind. Instead, it's been referred to as a choose your own adventure type of thing, but it seems that the adventure is chosen for you, as the coordinates are predetermined based on your set intention. Now on to number 8, tracking you. Of course, anyone with a phone is being tracked by the government, or so they say, but using this app is just making things even easier on them, as they could track your location in real time. I'm not saying that this is necessarily the government's work. Maybe it's someone who just wants to know people's locations at all times. It sounds crazy, but if you really think about it, this app works like a GPS in real time. So as you make your way to said coordinates, you're definitely being tracked by a system. Who's watching you, or should I say tracking you? Well, it could be anyone. The creator of the app, the government, or someone with bad intentions. At the end of the day, the creator of the app could potentially be selling off people's location and coordinates to people who, for whatever reason, would want to track where someone's going. Whether it's a setup to rob them or even abduct them, the world is a scary place, and letting an app, which in turn lets someone running the app, know exactly where you are in real time probably isn't the best idea. Then again, I don't know how much truth there is to this theory, but again, someone found a dead body using this app, and that's never happened to me while using other apps, so who knows. At number 7, blackmail. Yes, I keep referring to the 2 bodies found in the suitcase, and it's led to some pretty wild theories to run rampant. Yet this one doesn't seem to be the most far-fetched. I mean, really think about it. Someone commits a crime, puts the murder weapon or any kind of evidence in a spot that someone using the app will eventually reach, and now the evidence is potentially compromised. Even using the example of the suitcase, after the kids found it on the shore, it would now be considered tampered with because it would likely have their fingerprints on them. Whereas, if just the authorities were to find the case, they would potentially have more evidence to use. Aside from this, of course, something so traumatizing is going to make international news, which this story did, and although that brings more attention to the case, it also takes away from the criminal's crime and puts more focus on this creepy new app where kids wound up finding a dead body. It's the perfect way to throw an investigation off course, and the investigation regarding the suitcase situation is still open with no leads. Again, not to say that the creators of the app are necessarily responsible for criminals blackmailing others for their crimes, but if there was a way for them to figure out the preset coordinates and were able to plant pieces of evidence from their crime there, it would certainly make things much harder on the authorities investigating. On to number 6, authorities testing civilians. Think of it as a moral test of sorts, possibly even a scientific experiment that the government is conducting to determine what common people would do in uncommon situations. Say you find something you shouldn't, such as the suitcase with the bodies. Would everyone tell the cops immediately? Would some be too scared to? What if someone were to find a valuable item or a large sum of money? Say someone finds a wallet at the coordinates with a large sum of cash, but the person's ID is in it as well. Would the person or people who found the wallet take the cash and return the wallet? Would they just take the cash and leave the wallet there? Ultimately, it seems every individual would behave differently, and this app could very well be a moral test for the government or governments trying to grasp a better understanding of how humans work. Whether it be done by a city by city, state by state, or even country by country basis is to be determined. Would certain demographics, genders, or ages teenagers behave differently than others? This could all be part of a bigger case study, and I think we may be the guinea pigs here. Halfway at 5, part of a bigger game. We think the app is where the fun starts and stops, but that's just for us. Now this theory is a little out there, but there are allegedly places in the world where people could sell their bodies, and I don't mean in a romantic way. Ever see the movie Hostel? Kind of like that, but not as criminal, if you will. The theory here is that people who sign up for the app are pretty much agreeing to be hunted by others who are willing to pay a large sum of money to whoever it is that's controlling the app. Humans love to hunt, but some humans get a sick thrill off hunting other humans, or so it seems, and the theory goes that people who use the app are just a small piece of a much larger game. There was the one user who claimed they followed the directions, ended up in a parking lot where a woman was wielding a knife, and tried to attack her and a friend. They made it back to their car safely, but it's incredibly strange that the app would give coordinates in the same place a woman is standing in a parking lot wielding a knife. Although this theory is a little more out there, people think the moon landing was fake, among many other theories, so it really didn't surprise me all that much. At number 4, another scientific study. How far are people willing to go? It's a mix of competitiveness and not wanting to leave your task until it's finished. For someone afraid of heights or even the dark, would they be willing to go up to a mountain or into the dark woods one evening just to accomplish their goal and reach the coordinates? Maybe it's not even being conducted by the government, but by the creators of the app who are genuinely wanting to test how far people are willing to go just to get to the coordinates they've been given. The idea of constantly being watched and tracked alone is scary. So adding in that this is all part of a bigger test or experiment makes me even more uncomfortable. And we don't even know who's in charge of this. As is the case with the previously mentioned theories about being tracked or hunted, as far as we're concerned, it's just a game for fun where you choose your own adventure. But the reality could be we're a part of something that we don't even know exists. On to 3, ghosts are having people solve crimes. So you believe in ghosts? Well, if you want to get behind this theory, you better. Some are claiming that the ghosts of those who have fallen victim to specific crimes are responsible for sending people to the coordinates to help solve the crimes. Again, using the suitcase example, some have argued the spirit or ghosts of the people who were found were responsible for sending the kids there. At first, 35-year-old Jessica Lewis and 27-year-old Austin Wenner were simply just missing. Then things took a very dark turn when their bodies were found with gunshot wounds inflicted and their body dismembered into different suitcases. This changed the investigation from a missing person to a homicide. As you can imagine, this led to some wild theories, with people claiming that the app is run by those who have passed, or I guess their spirits, leading people to help uncover details to their specific investigations. Up next at 2, finding blind spots. Some claim there are certain areas in the world that, given our day-to-day routine, we would never check out. Maybe that alleyway behind the coffee shop you always go to, or that random street right before your house that you would never have a reason to go down. But this app leads you to these so-called blind spots, which may uncover something bigger than life. Aliens? A magical being? A new animal? Who knows what could be there? Some think the app is a way for us to break out of our mundane day-to-day life and experience something that can not only shake things up for us, but the rest of the world. After all, the app has led to people exploring places in their neighborhoods they never knew existed. Maybe this is part of some greater good or bad that is leading us to something we've always wanted to find or know, but probably shouldn't. And in at number 1, the butterfly effect. Similar to the previous theory at number 2, this theory leads some to believe that the app disrupts what should have been. Again, going off the idea that those using the app will likely end up in a location or place they normally wouldn't, some claim that the app is deliberately changing life as we know it. The butterfly effect, more specifically, is the theory that one change or shift in the timeline of life changes the world as we know it. So to no surprise, someone going to an area or place where they aren't supposed to go, or normally wouldn't, introduces them to a whole new world. You'd see people you likely would have never crossed paths with, go places you normally wouldn't, and do things you likely haven't thought of doing. All this leads some to believe that the app is deliberately trying to shake up the world and people's lives in hopes we could discover something that, had we not found this app, we'd likely never find. And there you have it for the top 10 scary Randonautica theories. Let us know which theory seems the most realistic or believable in the comments down below. And for now, let's reply to some comments from the video. What if the Titanic made it to New York? Abel said, what if our planet had multiple sentient intelligent species? I get what you're saying, but we kinda do. Like, chimpanzees are incredibly smart. You get into a fight with a chimpanzee, they go for your eyes, they bite off your fingers, and they try to rip off your area if you're a man. Like, they know. So I get what you're saying, like humans almost. Raccoons are also very smart. Like, the planet does have multiple intelligent species. We just think we're the smartest ones, but for some reason we think it's a good idea to go out into these animals' natural habitats and live there for a day or two. And then when we get attacked by a bear, we're like, I don't know why this happened. It's like, bro, if a raccoon came into your house, you could just let it sleep there for the night, or you could attack it. What do you think? So there you go. Jasmine's Corner said, I don't understand, how do people survive without Wi-Fi back then? I think it's one of those things that if it doesn't exist, you don't know what it's like without it, kind of thing. So for example, it's like saying, I don't know how people lived without planes and cars way back before they existed. If you don't know any better, then that's how. It's not part of their day-to-day lives. So it's not, there's places in the world now that don't have Wi-Fi that people have never been on the internet, I'm sure, and it's like, how do they live without Instagram? But we're like, they never had it in the first place. They don't know it exists, so who cares? No-Tailed Beast said, what if Jordan ever went back-to-back champions 96-97? well, then I think it'd be quite evident that LeBron is the best of all time. I'm just kidding. It's obviously Jordan. I'm a big LeBron fan. I mean, I'm not even that big of a basketball fan, but I think Jordan is evidently the best of all time. No questions about that. So there you have it, folks. Anyways, guys, that's all for this one. Been your host, Jared Bronstein. Let us know if you've used the app in the comments down below, and we'll see you soon.